So tell me the name of the director again.
Jan De Bont.
He better fucking be French or I'll be mad.
He's Dutch.
I'm mad.
He was a cinematographer. He worked with Paul Verhoeven.
I didn't ask you all that shit. You can have your time later with all that info.
This is important.
I know, and you can say it later after you lick the salt from your rim over there. Yeah, you're licking salt. Okay, so you said something interesting once, and it was that that was a good bit. Anyway, that he had this. He came out of the gate with 2 successful movies and then just made a bunch of poopers. Is that right? He made Twister and Speed.
He made Speed and then Twister. And then he made Speed 2 Cruise Control. And
here's what he did. Here's why the first 2 worked. And I'd love to watch a bad one because I want to see what went off the rails.
Well, let me just say, this is a canonical... If there's ever like a... What director started out red hot and then just never recovered, he's like the go-to example. Boom, boom, Speed Twister, and then nothing but shit.
Okay.
Go ahead, sorry.
So what he did right, in both movies, he gives me a heaping pile of people to care about. He finds charismatic people that work well together. I don't know if it was an accident or if it... whatever. And he gave me a suspenseful, nonstop thrill ride with a million reasons to hug a person.
That should be on the poster.
Both movies... find 2 really compelling people who aren't in a relationship, but they should be, and you feel that the whole time in both movies, and they have at least 8 opportunities in both movies to hug each other aggressively to protect them from flying debris. And it's just like, oh yeah, oh no, you gotta hug Keanu. Oh shit, oh that looks like a really good, safe hug. That looks important. It's hot, sexy hugging.
Oh. Listen, I love how much you love this movie.
I do love this movie.
I was delighted by how delighted you were by it.
I don't ever get this pumped about movies.
I know. It was
like, I will watch this every
charming.
night. God, this is good.
Yeah, I wish I'd been able to articulate this better on our Godzilla episode. But, there's like the sort of the platonic ideal of what used to be called a programmer, and that's just a movie. You just plug it in at the movie theaters, and your parents will go see it on the weekends. And it's just either it stars Harrison Ford on maybe your lower end as just like a thrill. Oh, the Russians are doing something, or maybe you got your bigger budgets like this, where the stars are Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt, and then they're in their late 30s, and there's, big budget special effects, but it's just some sort of a movie about people doing their jobs. And that movie has totally disappeared from Hollywood. It's now just TV. Every TV show, every CBS procedural, that's what's happened. And
I mean, I miss rom-coms. I was a total sucker for those. And that is the thing that this director did well, is tucked a romantic story that's fun and flirty and there's not a lot of stakes, and like maybe they make it out or maybe they don't, wrapped around a really intense experience that you could
feel that way. That's so weird that that the new wife is there, or the fiance
I love
is
that.
there. That's
otherwise it's a given.
I just feel so bad for her.
Yeah, but that's why they perfectly write her out, where she says the thing about, you know what? I'm not even that upset. What does that mean? And then she leaves. And it's like, that's right. We didn't even remember you. Bye, Melinda, Melissa, Michelle.
I thought it was pretty well handled. I do think for as much as it sort of like makes me want to not root for Helen Hunt and Bill Paxton, even though you're supposed to, the existence of the fiance there, like, is really like, well, she's the victim. This is, how am I supposed to? But they do handle it pretty well, because there's actual story here. She sees that the man she's in love with she doesn't actually know him, because now she's seeing him in his real environment.
He is a person who is always going to need a thrill ride.
Yes.
And to really bring out the passion. He was trying on a new life, but he's not ever going to be really proud of himself in that new role. This story mirrors Princess Di, and what's the name of the person he actually loves?
Camilla Parker Bell.
Yeah. Are you sure it's Bell? I don't think it's Bell.
Parker Bowles.
Yeah, Bowles. And it's if
Listen, everybody knows the Twister is actually about Camilla Parker Bowles and Princess Diana.
I mean, you've got the person that society thinks that they need, I need to move on. I need to grow up. I need to marry.
In this case, this is
marry
the
who I am
Gertz.
supposed. Can I keep going? I need to marry. God damn it, Matt! What?
You're using shorthand. I want
I'm
to make
going
clear
to
the audience
longhand
what
it,
you're
you
talking about.
motherfucker.
All right, sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So you've got the new girlfriend that Pullman has here. She's more acceptable.
Paxton.
Goddamn Paxton.
Bill Paxton plays,
Oh my God! Stop talking.
plays Bill.
She's a more grown-up person and version of himself. He apparently lived a very wild, reckless life that had a wild, reckless marriage that didn't. It was his old. Anyway, society needed him to grow up, but what the other woman, the woman before the proper woman represents, is someone who gets that guy, who pulls out the kid in him, but maybe all there is a kid in him, and like likes to hunt and watch polo and do stupid shit.
Get her hands dirty.
Parker Bowles was like a salt of the earth, grimy, nails dirty girl who just liked to pal around and laugh at his stupid jokes and watch him do polo and hunt quail. That's who he needed to be with.
And just like with Princess Diana and Camilla, maybe Helen Hunt isn't the best looking person. Oh, wait, no, she's the most attractive person in the history of the world in this movie.
Yeah, she's never looked better.
I never, comment on, that's an attractive lady. But you said it first.
So
You're like,
natural about the way she looks in this movie. That white tank top and that tan, and her hair's just ever so many ways, and she's completely self-possessed. She's completely confident in who she is. You don't get to see a woman do that very often. This is her element. She's fucking awesome at this. Mm-hmm. She's driven whether he's there or not. She was going to be doing this whether he's there or not. Yeah. There's something
although once he comes in,
about that.
He suddenly then takes over the operation, and everybody's like, all right, boss,
she lets him.
She lets him. It's like when the Pope was going to crown Napoleon emperor, and then Napoleon snatched the crown out of the Pope's hands and put it on his head instead. On his own head instead. Just say, you don't make me an emperor. I make me emperor. That's what it's like.
Okay.
Now,
she likes his partnership.
But the other thing...
She missed him.
The other thing is that the new... What's the new fiance's name?
Melissa.
But Melissa also represents city living. She's got a cell phone, and this movie made me remember that there used to be a time, kids, when in a movie or a TV show, if a character used a cell phone, that was a very important thing about them. Think of Angelica's mom from Rugrats.
They would have had to really go out of their way to pay for a plan and get that phone and carry it around, the giant brick.
It's they're taking phone calls while they're around other people. Is nothing sacred? How important is your?
Right.
That's what the new fiance is doing. She's always talking on her cell phone. She's not like Helen Hunt.
But it's just for clients only and for patients. She's doing the Lord's work. But yeah, she's at least
doing her
job.
And her job is not to be I'm an executive at a board. She's a therapist, yes.
And then it comes out that it's a fertility therapist too.
Okay, but it's more specific and more realized. This is a good movie. Okay. I like this movie nowhere near as much as you did, but I was like, what I was sort of building to earlier is you used to have your programmers in the 90s, and then you had your sort of blockbusters like this or like Independence Day, which are like the better ones, and then Godzilla, which is not good. I mean, you hate it. I only slightly dislike it, but it still just had a personality that no big budget movie today has. In the sort of ensemble and the weird character actors you have just kind of tolling around in the background.
A lot of budget. I mean, I don't know if it's a lot of budget, but yeah, they're just more. I don't know. There's more actors, but this Twister has every actor in it.
The cast it's a stacked cast.
It's crazy, and they all have 5 lines.
Yeah. Well, so you know who was brought on board to rewrite the script?
What was wrong?
A guy who was. Well, just every script gets that done to every Hollywood script. Actually, the story. So Michael Crichton and his wife wrote this movie. Mm-hmm. They sold it to Steven Spielberg's Amblin Company. Spielberg was himself going to direct it. It has a lot of trappings of a Spielberg movie. You have divorce, which is always a Spielberg thing. They're also courting James Cameron to do it, and I kind of feel like this movie's sort of a splice of a James Cameron and Steven Spielberg movie, where you have the divorce and the family dynamics and the big budget effects mixed with like a lot of hard scrabble blue collar folks and the not liking the big money corporation coming in and taking over this sort of more down to earth thing. But instead they get Jan De Bont fresh off of Speed, which we also watched just because it's just sort of like autoplayed, and then we were just like, oh, it's a good movie, and then we just watched all of Speed.
It was good. And I didn't think I liked Keanu Reeves until you told me about that fact that he does his own stunts. So I didn't
does
think
some of his own stunts.
I didn't think I liked him until John Wick, but it turns out
he's great.
Yeah.
Well, and it makes you watch all of his earlier movies, and suddenly you're like, oh, you're doing stuff that I didn't appreciate.
Yes. Well, and I think I only thought of him as Bill and Ted and the guy from Parenthood, and just like a bonehead dude. But like when he's got depth, it's super sexy.
They say you need a license to drive, but you don't need one have to get Parenthood.
Exactly.
Trying to I've been wrestling in my mind. Which do I hate more, Clifford or Parenthood? And I think it'd be Parenthood because Parenthood
was trying to do something that it didn't do.
Yes, Parenthood holds itself as something more important than what it is.
Fine. I think you should go fuck yourself. Well,
you hated Parenthood when we watched it.
I know, but
you hated Clifford when we watched it.
I have reset accordingly.
That's frustrating.
You know that I do this.
And we've pointed to our Parenthood episode is very good. You re-listened to it. And so you lived now she's reset, she doesn't remember that either.
This is convenient about me. It means I get to watch things like a brand new child.
Yeah.
I like this about me.
I like it about you too, but it's, sometimes I'm getting a little frustrated.
Okay.
What was I saying?
This movie just doesn't have a place now.
It doesn't have a place. Okay. But we did watch Speed, and Speed is like 10 million times better than Twister. Twister is like, for me, just like functional and entertaining. Speed is like the height of what a just like one sentence premise can be. Bomb on a bus, buses go fast, what are you gonna do? Boom! And that movie is fucking great. It's so good. And also, I wouldn't have thought it's a load-bearing beam. I haven't seen it in 20 years. But when we were watching Speed, every micro detail of Speed was familiar to me. All the characters, everything they've said, it was just it's just living in my head, even though I don't think about it.
And of all the characters all the actors you'd pick out of the two, you wouldn't think the common denominator would be fucking Ferris Bueller's best friend. What's his name? Ruck? Alan Ruck. But I like him in both. He's fucking likable.
There were some others who appeared in both of these. There was the guy who plays shitty comedian Jimmy Barrett from Mad Men. The guy who...
What is he in Speed?
He is on the corporate team.
In Speed? There's a corporate team? Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about Twister. No, nope. He's like one of the guys who gets on the elevator at the beginning of the movie.
Oh, you're right. That is a weird... Yeah.
So there's him and Alan Ruck. So many people in both movies.
Wow. 2. It's almost a list. 1,
when
2.
Michael Crichton and his wife write the script, hot property, this is going to be a giant movie. And it was. Big hit. But in your 2 lead actors, kind of an interesting choice. Bill Paxton, always been a character actor. He's been in tons of big movies, but always as...
Is he in Lake Placid? Or is that the other one?
Holmes.
Every fucking time. Sorry.
Which... yeah, I know. There's always that's always the joke about those two actors.
I know, and
they're
I don't
nothing
even mean,
really alike.
They're not. They're
but their
vanilla.
names are similar. Oh, they are not vanilla. Oh, Bill Paxton.
They go down smooth.
No, Bill Paxton might be one of my favorite actors. Actually,
vanilla is delicious.
Vanilla is he's vanilla. You know what he is?
I'm saying he goes with everything. I didn't mean vanilla like boring. I meant.
Well, I'd say there's one thing he can't do.
Be a woman.
Carry a movie.
Interesting.
He's not a leading man. He's fine, but there's nothing you could slot in. So many actors who would do so much more with this. Maybe I guess you
said he was your favorite actor.
That doesn't mean that everything he's ever done is great. I just mean that I'm always super happy to see him in a movie.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
But he was he's in Aliens and he's in True Lies. And he's in these James Cameron movies, but always as like the fourth or fifth guy. And then after this, he's in Titanic, but he's the treasure hunter in the modern story. He's not playing
James
Jack,
Cameron, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Jack.
But it's interesting that this movie, as its romantic leads, has Bill Paxton, 41,
It is
Helen Hunt, 33. And I was reading articles from the time about this movie, and they're all like, Helen Hunt from TV's mad about you. So I guess it was like, now I think, well, Helen Hunt, the great movie star who won Best Actress and stuff at the Oscars. But she, it'd be like taking the wife from Everybody's Loves Raymond or something, I guess, and putting her as the lead in a big movie.
But she's amazing. And then the only other thing I can remember her in after this is the What Women Want.
Yeah, and As Good as It Gets is the next year
Oh,
after
you're right.
this.
Duh. Oh,
She
wait,
wins
and
the
Pay It
Oscar.
Forward. Isn't that one? You're right. She did have a little... What happened to her?
Well, what happens to all women
She
when
aged.
they become 40? They're like, do you want to play a grandmother? No, but you're 40.
She's so
And then
pretty,
that's
though.
it. Yeah.
She did get some more plastic... She got plastic surgery after this movie.
Would you say that about a man?
Yes. Yes.
Misogynist.
Okay.
I think she is wonderful. In this, and just in general. I think she just...
She's a good dramatic actress.
I watched As Good as It Gets a few years ago, and there's the scene where she's... Have you seen that movie?
Of course I've seen that movie.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
the look of contempt Lacey just shot. Have I seen As Good as It Gets? Of course I've seen As Good as It Gets.
You're going to keep...
You motherfucker.
All right. Do I need to be here when we leave? You got more to say?
You are a shitty person.
There you go. Okay.
Well, what do you remember about it?
I remember that it's with Jack Nicholson, and then I remember her kid has all these ailments or whatever.
Yeah,
and
he has
she's-
all these ailments.
Do you want me to? And she's a waitress, and he's insufferable, but he takes a liking to her, and then he helps her out by getting a doctor that actually diagnoses him. And she says, "Pieces of shit, HMO." And then I was like, "What's an HMO?" And then I learned because I became an adult, and they are a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And that he has a gay neighbor, and that neighbor gets brutally attacked, and he's awful to that neighbor, but then he becomes friends with them, and then they go on a road trip for some fucking reason, and he sees the small of her back because she's naked drawing a bath. And are they romantic? I don't remember.
They get
And
romantic.
They get romantic, and that's all. I remember that's a lot for me.
It's not a very good movie, but she's great, and she has her kid who's always sick, and she's a waitress, and she's struggling to get by, but she has no time for herself. But when I describe it like that, it makes it sound shitty, but the movie actually does a good job of like, think of how hard this must be to try to like have a personal life or try to like go on dates or something. So she goes on a date, and then she comes home with her date.
And grabs a napkin. It's got mucus.
Close. She's gonna fuck the guy, but then the kid comes out, and he's like, he's thrown up, and she's cleaning up the throw up, and then some of the throw up gets on her date,
Yeah,
and her
that's it.
date's like, oh, and she says, it's just throw up. And I just think of her saying it's just a little throw up all the time, because that's awesome, because that is how you become as a parent, and that's just how everyone should be. Just like fucking get over it. Very good, well observed moment. Good on Helen Hunt. That's my point. I think of just the little throw up all the time, every time I clean up something shitty that my kids do.
I've gotten my son's shit in my hair and on my face more times than I can count. Because when he poops like a man. And, he's not potty trained yet because it takes a minute. And that shit gets everywhere. And then if you're trying to clean it up off the floor and it's like, and he's rolling around and you're like, I gotta stop these alligator legs. And then you wipe your face off. And then I'm glad I explained all this. Anyway, it's just a little shit.
It's just a little shit.
Some shit. It comes right off.
Yeah.
It's not the best.
It's easy to get off, actually. And
It
so is throw
wants
up.
to come off.
If it gets on your skin. If throw up gets on your car seat, that's another matter.
Ew!
M for Mark.
Jesus Christ.
I just said something that I deleted. And you listeners won't know what it is. You'll notice that I said that.
Oh, I just know I'm scarred.
Lacey's mortified. The impropriety. Her bow tie just starts spinning.
All right.
You'll never believe what I said. It's not bad like you think it might be.
It was a lot.
I just described a sex act. That's all. A
Okay.
good sex act that everyone should do.
A very good one. It's one of my faves.
Kissing. The sexual act of kissing. Well,
The horizontal.
well, Twister. Jan De Bont, the movie guy who made this movie, cinematographer in the 70s and 80s, worked with Paul Verhoeven, director of RoboCop and Total Recall, and Showgirls were your favorite.
Favorite.
Also worked on this this movie called Roar, which was
Katy Perry song.
Yeah, it was, Katy Perry. The Katy Perry song "Roar." That's actually a movie that he worked on.
Anyway, tell them about. It's a weirdest fucking.
So Tippi Hedren, the movie star from the '60s, mother of Melanie Griffith, dates and marries movie producer Noel Marshall. I almost said Noel Gallagher. Noel Marshall. And they're on a safari in Africa, and they see some lions have invaded an abandoned plantation. And they're like, that's cute. These lions, they're people living in this house. So they do the natural thing, and they buy a house in Africa and live with a bunch of lions in it. And tigers. And then they're like, you know what? This should be a movie. So Noel Marshall writes a script, and he's like, I'll star in it, and you'll star in it, and our kids will star in it. Melanie Griffith will star in it, and all of the Mr. Marshall's sons from his first marriage will star in it. Okay. So this will be a movie about, hey, we're living with lions and tigers. Isn't that nuts? It is. They hire real people to come in and shoot it, including Jan De Bont, who gets his scalp eaten off. The back of his scalp gets eaten off. It requires 200 stitches to get it back on. 70 people were injured by cats. Do you want to
explain how it happened?
Oh, well, a fucking tiger lion or something bit off his
bite, or it was a...
It was a bite. Okay. Bit off to the back of his scalp. Okay. It's sort of a Roy of Siegfried and Roy situation with Manticore.
I mean, it's
but not as bad.
Well, no, it's kind of amazing that he survived. It must have been a minor attack when you think about it. Because if it wanted to, it could just keep eating his head.
I guess
the fact that it just got the back, it almost seems like it nipped at his hair and pulled it off.
Now that you say that, I'm thinking this isn't that good of a story, because you want this to be better. It's like 70 people were injured. It's like, were they fucking eaten to death? Well, no, they got like some scratches and stuff.
Okay, but 70 people. You said it's the most dangerous movie ever made.
Yes.
So what were the other injuries? It's still a good story.
Just bites and scratches and stuff.
I'm saying, then they weren't real bite. I mean,
yeah, they were bites. Some of them were life-threatening, I think. I'm not an encyclopedia, the encyclopedia of knowledge about the movie Roar, but Jan De Bont worked on this, and I feel like that has to inform his "you gotta bleed for your art" sort of ethos. Look at me, I had my scalp eaten off by a lion. Now, this Entertainment Weekly article I read from 1996 about the making of this movie reads very differently in our world now, our post-Me Too world now, and our world where suddenly we're re-examining things like Shelley Duvall in The Shining and the way Stanley Kubrick basically abused her to get a good performance out of her. The movie shot for 9 months. She had to cry for 12 hours a day. Nobody was allowed to be nice to her on set because Stanley Kubrick didn't want that. He wanted all the trauma of the production of the movie to inform the performance. Jesus. And we all celebrate, oh, Stanley Kubrick, what a master. He'd do anything for his art, and look at the results. It's so great. And now suddenly we see these things as
fucked up.
Fucked up, yes. And yeah, I feel like they were dancing around. I'm going to read the quote. I'll read the quote now from the article. I'm going to have to pause our viewing of Twister. So, this is from the Entertainment Weekly article. Quote, "Is it true that she and Paxton," that'd be Bill Paxton, he played Bill in the movie Twister in 1996. "Is it true that she and Paxton had to have hepatitis shots after filming in a ditch crawling with bacteria?" "Yep." "Did she smack her blonde pate repeatedly on a low wooden bridge while shooting the same sequence, evidently so exhausted that she kept forgetting she couldn't stand up so quickly?" "Pretty much, yes." "And didn't De Bont's off-spoken desire to put his actors, quote, as close as possible, end quote, to the action, lead her to do a few shots she now thinks better of?" "Yes, again, especially one stunt in which Hunt opened the door of a vehicle that was speeding through a cornfield, stood up on the side of the passenger side, and then, clonk, got the door full in the side of the head when she let it go momentarily. As Paxton describes it, Kawam! Hello, wake-up call, boing, check please. That ended that day's shooting. It scared the hell out of her, and I don't blame her for being upset. We did it again, but with a piece of railing holding the door open." And Bill Paxton's quote, but I'm still reading from the article. "Some secondhand sources say Hunt got a full-blown concussion. She won't discuss the details, but she acknowledges the mishap. God, you're reminding me how brutal it was," she frets. Who am I kidding? It was totally brutal." She recalls that she felt like a dazed refugee when she got back to Mad About You straight from Twister's final Oklahoma locations. At least, though, she found a decompression confidant in Paul Reiser. "More than anybody," she says, "Paul knows and understands how much I hate to be hit in the head." What Hunt appears to dislike just as much as... This is a segment called Reading. What Hunt appears to dislike just as much is an offhand suggestion made by De Bont in a separate interview that she was the architect of some of her own mishaps. She hurt herself a couple of times, yeah, says the director, his crisp Euro accent and piercing, stale, slate blue eyes giving him a simultaneously charming and authoritarian air. I love Helen to death, but she can also be a little bit clumsy sometimes. She hit her head so hard on the bridge over and over, I couldn't believe it. She was just so into the scene she forgot. One time she almost fainted, she hit it so hard, and then there was one other time she got hurt a little bit. She was supposed to hold a car door, and when the shot was over, she kind of forgot the door was there. It banged, it wasn't very hard. Anyway.
What the fuck? That was like speed reading, dude. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But you were so annoyed as I was reading.
No, I was annoyed the way you were reading.
Oh, damn it.
You were like,
I'm
reading. It's fine.
Is
it's fine.
It true?
It's fine. Stop.
She and Paxton.
Anyway, your fucking point is what? That his account of it is so minimizing and
that the way it's written and even the way she is telling it is all like, well, that's just how it is, You get a concussion, you get hepatitis, like silly Helen, ditzy Helen. It infects all of us. I'm saying I feel like this story, if it were told today, would be like a big, important story about the way male directors abuse if not in a sexual way, will abuse the people in the name of making art. And that we've historically celebrated male directors mostly, some female directors like Catherine Bigelow, but male directors for like really pushing the limit of their actors.
Yeah, I don't think I know enough about the making of. I always find it very interesting to find out things, but I don't think I know enough about the circumstances and conditions of other movies being made. So, yeah, that sounds hellish. I also don't, to get her as close to the action, like whenever they're looking at a tornado, what are they looking at? That's just CGI, or that's just...
I think it's CGI that augments real effects that they're doing there with wind machines and stuff.
But is anything, but a lot like of it shit's flying around for real?
Shit is flying around, but I think most what you're looking at is CGI. And in fact, all the days they were shooting, it was bright sunlight out, which was bad for them. They had to spend a lot more money to get, post conversion to dark skies.
Yeah.
It just seemed like a very hellish and difficult shoot. That's all. And this director only made a few more movies and then stopped working. The last movie he did was Lara Croft Tomb Raider 2, Cradle of Life.
And it was bad?
It was so bad that he says he stopped directing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because he lost his eye for it? It was so bad he stopped directing. Like he
had such a bad experience with it.
Because he was so bad at it? I don't understand. So he just accidentally picked up a couple of movies that didn't really have a chance, and they weren't really easy to direct to begin with?
He says he got so much interference from the studio he couldn't do things.
Oh, okay.
But earlier I said that I was starting to say that the person who rewrote the script was Joss Whedon, who rewrote like every script in the 90s. He's the Buffy the Vampire Slayer guy.
Yeah.
Who we now know is also a serial abuser of women on his sets. But all the stuff you're saying about the team, the camaraderie, that's all his specialty. That's like, he's great at stuff like that.
At making sure the cast is in love with each other?
Yep.
It's so fucking good.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty good.
I guess I need to pay attention to when a movie's bad, even though they get that part right. But I can't imagine it. If I care about the people as a group and I can tell they care about each other, I can care about anything. I think.
Yeah.
I will let you know if I'm wrong.
I have a question.
Okay.
What is a tornado?
A cyclone of air. Of two converging air systems. Maybe is it warm weather meeting cold weather, and then they...
That sounds right. I'm really impressed.
I mean, that's what a hurricane is on a macro level, so maybe it's a micro version of that.
A tornado is just a mini hurricane?
I mean, it's something
over land.
Well, it could be over water, but then it's a cyclone. Or water spout. I don't know why certain places... I think it's because you need a lot of land to really let it pick up, and interference like trees and I'm guessing. But there's got to be a reason why the plains area, the flatlands, are where it happens.
Tornado Alley is what it's called. I think it's because
Maybe that's why they're there.
It's because... And I watched a bunch of YouTube videos to try to understand this. When I try to understand weather, that's when I feel the stupidest.
You said that about blockchain.
When I try to understand weather, it's like I'm trying to understand blockchain.
There you
I
go.
feel like an idiot.
There you are.
It's
So what'd you learn?
sea pressure. You get the warm air of the Gulf of Mexico meeting the cold air coming in from like the Canadian Rockies or something.
Okay, yeah, it's just
That's
a
why the middle of
perfect
the United
place for it
States
to.
is where the most tornadoes
So I was right.
in the world. Yes, you're right. I still don't totally get it because I'm an idiot when it comes to weather. I don't get it.
They're just going two different ways. They have two different pressure systems, so that the pressure are like one's going this way, one's going this way, and it makes it both go like this. And the viewers can see nothing because there's no viewers. I was spinning like a tornado with my arms. You get it now?
No, because this is like when I tell somebody I don't understand Bitcoin, they're like, "Listen, it's
All
just
right.
like, yeah, I'm telling you that you're going to explain it to me, and I'm not going to get it."
I need to make an infographic, a diagram.
And that infographic is going to make me mad at myself.
Well, you deserve it.
Well, I think that I love these 90s disaster movies. I love disaster movies in general, and I like bad weather movies. But I think that I had seen Twister one time. I saw it in the theaters in 1996. Although I was surprised about how much of it I remembered. Maybe I've just seen parts of it on TV without really remembering it. I remember that they eat a flying cow, and I remember the Pepsi
eat
cans.
a flying cow?
I remember that there's a flying cow, and later they eat beef and joke that it came from the flying cow.
They did not joke that it came from a flying cow.
No?
No. Meg says, "Did you see all those cows out front?" And he says, "No." And then she goes, "Huh?" She was just making a farm joke. Not that you see that flying cow. I didn't see because I live way over here in fucking Rakita and I don't live your life.
When I was
no
8
one
years
saw
old,
that
and
cow.
when I was 33 years old, I misunderstood in the same way then.
No one saw that flying cow but the three of the people who were in the truck.
I thought she did. I thought that she
How would she have seen a flying
Because I'm watching a movie
cow?
and I figured the people in the movie are watching the movie too.
Jesus.
And as I was watching this movie, I was
She
thinking...
found the dead cow
shut up,
that went
shut up.
flying.
Hey.
Carried it back with her hands and made steak
Listen,
for them.
We've been.
It just happened that day. How could that be? Okay.
Because I'm an idiot.
Okay. That's a fair answer. It flew to Wakita, landed on all of her...
Wakita. Ah, yes. Just making up words.
That's the name of her fucking
I'm sure it is. Yo, that's the name of her town, of
Oh my
course. When I was trying to think, what movie is that where the love interest is like, hey, main character, I'm leaving, and the main character's like, good idea, go back to the hotel, and then the lady's like, not going back I'm going back to my family in New York.
My family in New York.
And as I was wondering, what fucking movie is that from? It happens in this movie. I'm like, I guess this is the movie I got that weird memory from.
Yeah, I guess it.
Bill Paxton, I'm going.
It does seem like they live in New York.
That's a good idea. Go back to the motel. And then she's like,
No, I'm leaving you.
and I don't even feel bad about it.
What does that mean?
But, I have such affection for disaster movies, and especially for these 90s movies, that every time I've thought about Twister and thought I should watch that again, I bet it's, it scratches my itch of like, ooh, love to see a big threat to mankind.
Okay.
The thing that always made me think, because in this movie they're chasing the danger.
Uh-huh.
And that's the part that seems to make you like the movie and is what
There's more control.
these are just these very particular things that we gravitate toward. And the fact that they're chasers, that this is an adventure, not a disaster movie, is one of the things that makes me not love it. But that's just a preference thing.
Yeah, 100%. You're completely. I mean, yeah. I can tell you have bad taste, but
You have bad taste.
I know that. So what we're gonna do? But yeah, I'm a pussy, and what I love is like get me really excited, get me really scared, and then everything's fine. It's like it's the scary movie ebb and flow where you're so relieved when it's daytime again. You're like, okay, we've got some time.
I know,
it
but
just
it's
turned
like,
daytime again. All right.
Yeah, but if it's
nighttime again.
If it were a scary
Talking about
movie,
90s movies.
If it were a scary movie, but where the main character of the movie decided to go chase Freddy Krueger, the scary thing about Freddy Krueger is that he comes into your house. You know what it is?
No.
You know why Jaws is a great movie?
Shut up. the scary thing about twisters are that they happen so sporadically, and they can come to their house. And when they do, that means you're going to die. So, yeah, they're going to it so that they can kill it so it doesn't come kill them. It's like more like a zombie movie. Like, okay, guys,
don't have to do
we
that.
need to... They do if they want to keep living in this area and not randomly lose friends and family.
No, they could leave.
Okay, you know you're kidding, right? Everyone lives in a place where there are natural disasters, and no one leaves.
I'm not watching a documentary about real people. I'm watching a movie about movie characters.
So I'm saying they're going to the source. They're going to the enemy to kill it before it comes to kill them. It's the same as anything else. I win.
This is Jaws.
It's not like no. I'm still upset. It's not like, oh, I hear there's an erupting active volcano over on that island no one lives on. We should go see if we can touch it. And like, oh, is it gonna erupt? I'm gonna go away. Oh, is it gonna erupt? Oh, here I go. That would be stupid. No one. That volcano's not gonna hurt anyone. Just don't go to that island. Twisters are sinister. I keep calling it a twister. Tornadoes are sinister because they can pop up and you only get a 3-minute warning and they fuck all your shit up.
Do you think I'm saying it's not a worthy thing to try to do to understand tornadoes and come up with a I'm saying that's less interesting of a narrative for me to follow than, holy shit, 10 million mega tornadoes are bearing down on New York City. That's way better movie to me. Which I believe happens in Roland Emmerich's The Day After Tomorrow, which I've considered bringing up on this podcast as a movie we would watch.
Your movies suck.
Your movies suck.
This one is awesome.
This one's fine.
And I've got another awesome one in the chamber.
What?
Well, I think we're doing Bad Boys, right?
Oh.
Or Wild West?
Oh.
Which one are we doing?
We keep discussing Wild Wild West because I watched it a million times as a kid, too.
Oh, right. We're going to do a joint one.
But I would never say it's a joint load bring because I know it sucks. And I don't think I even liked it that much when I was a kid. It was just we owned it.
We could Wild Wild.
We could Wild Wild. You suck. Jaws. That's what I was going to say.
Oh, great.
You know what it is?
Every podcast comes
Here's why Jaws is great, because the first half is your horror movie. Oh my God, the shark's going to kill us while we're just going on an innocent family swim at the beach. But the second half of the movie is the adventure. Now we're going to go get him. And Twister is all the second half of Jaws. And by the way, second half of Jaws is probably the better half of Jaws. And yet, you need that first half to really understand the danger. Twister needs a first half where the Twisters are killing everyone
They
first.
don't. They open it with you seeing Joe's dad getting sucked from the earth.
I need a good hour and a half of Joe's dad getting killed, like over and over again. That's what I'm saying.
Mom's screams more than give you enough. More than plenty give it to you.
As the late great DMX said, Joe's mom screams gonna give it to you. We're done, right?
I think so.